More than a year, the Crosse County Board has been working to improve that relationship, specifically among people of color and the police, a process that many feel is taking too long.
Now, that latest debate is deciding whether or not it should be an oversight or an advisory committee. News 19's Marcus Arsvold breaks down the difference and tells us that they'll most likely go with the advisory committee. So tell us why.
Heather, the board and law enforcement say an oversight committee would have too much power, and there are Wisconsin laws that prevent it from happening in our state. So an advisory committee would specifically make recommendations to police officers. It would also provide a safe space for people to share their problems. Right now, the board is working to form a study group that would then decide who would sit on an advisory committee. Some people say that La Crosse is decades behind when it comes to the relationship between police and the people that live here.
La Crosse is starting to see a greater diversity, and so La Crosse needs to progress to embrace that and promote it and accept it, be inclusive of everybody.
Tracy Littlejohn is sure of one thing: the new committee needs to be diverse.
We have a lot of very amazing people of color in this community. I'd love to hear their voices more.
Some community members don't think an advisory committee has enough power over the police. But in order to make any progress, the board says they need to meet law enforcement somewhere in the middle.
If I don't make everybody happy, I at least want people to be clear that the process was fair. You know, this was a thoughtful process, not excluding anyone, not targeting anyone.
But before La Crosse PD gets on board, they want assurance this group isn't anti-police.
If the committee wants to focus simply on divisiveness, it'll be a struggle to have anything productive come from the efforts of the committee and their relationship with local law enforcement.
We still don't know exactly what the problem is, and that's what this committee is going to look at, what the scope of their duties are going to be, and hopefully it's progressive in that we can make improvements in many avenues related to policing in our community.
But Cruz says holding police accountable is nowhere near being anti-police.
There are those people who feel that if you are critical of the police, then obviously you must hate the police. So I do see some, potential controversy along those lines, but hopefully with the work that this committee does, those kinds of fears will hopefully be alleviated.
Littlejohn agrees that an advisory committee is the best route.
I just don't see it as oversight. I see it more as community relations type of thing. But I really would love to see a lot more people of color starting to take the advantage of being asked to the table because of their skills, their experience, their knowledge, to be able to provide those perspectives.
Once the board picks people for the study group, then they'll have 1 year to decide on what the permanent committee will look like. Heather, keep in mind, this is all volunteer. These are not paid positions to sit on for either the study group or the final committee.
All right, so Marcus, how is this different than what they have now, the Criminal Justice Management Council that exists?
Good question. So this group would not focus on legalities or judicial aspects of the system. It's more about the relationship between people of color and the police and creating those safe spaces for communication without fear of retaliation.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. Now, those involved say there's no solution that will make everyone happy, but they do believe that finding middle ground is possible, though it will take a while.